John is 38 years old. He lives in Columbus, Ohio. He makes $72,000 a year, more than he has ever made in his entire life. He cannot afford to save a single dollar this month. Not because he bought something stupid, not because he has a gambling problem, not because he eats out every night. His rent went up $340 last year. His groceries cost 28% more than they did in 2020. His health insurance premium quietly jumped $180 a month. His car insurance, same car, same clean record, went up 42%. John got a raise. John got poorer. And the terrifying part? John is not an edge case. John is the average American right now. And what happened to his paycheck over the last 5 years is one of the most important financial stories nobody is explaining clearly. Today, we're going to fix that. My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time thinking about why hardworking people with decent incomes are somehow ending up with less money every single year, and why the system measuring it keeps telling them everything is fine. If you're someone who wants to understand what is actually eating your paycheck, instead of just feeling vaguely stressed about it, hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it ends up making things click. Let's get into it. The number that lies to you. Here is the number the news shows you. Average hourly earnings in America are up roughly 22% since 2020. 22%. Sounds great. Sounds like progress. Sounds like American workers are doing better than ever. Here is the number the news does not show you. Inflation since 2020 is up approximately 23%. Your raise lost to inflation by a full percentage point nationally on average, which means in real purchasing power terms, the kind that actually pays your bills, the average American worker earns less today than they did in 2019. That is not a recession. That is not a crisis with a name. There are no emergency press conferences. The stock market is fine, GDP is growing, unemployment is low, and yet somehow you have less money. Economists have a term for this. They call it real wage decline, which is a very calm, professional phrase for something that feels, from the inside, like being slowly robbed in broad daylight while everyone around you insists the economy is healthy. Where your paycheck actually goes. Let's run John's numbers, because this is where it gets uncomfortable. John makes $72,000 a year. That's $6,000 a month gross. After federal taxes, state taxes, Social Security, and Medicare, John takes home roughly $4,850 a month. Now let's look at where that goes. Rent. The median one-bedroom apartment in a mid-size American city now runs $1,480 a month. That's up from $1,050 in 2019. Same apartment, same city. $430 more every month. Groceries. The USDA tracks this. A moderate grocery budget for a single adult is now $412 a month, up from $320 in 2019. $92 more every month just to eat the same food. Car insurance. The national average auto insurance premium hit $2,314 per year in 2024. That's up 26% in a single year. That's the largest single-year jump ever recorded. John pays $193 a month just to legally drive to work. Health insurance. The average employee contribution for employer-sponsored health insurance crossed $8,435 per year in 2024. That's $703 a month coming out before John even sees his paycheck. Utilities. Electric bills are up 29% since 2020. Internet, gas, water, all up. Added up, John's fixed, non-negotiable monthly expenses, rent, food, car insurance, utilities, now total approximately $3,600 a month. John takes home $4,850. That leaves $1,250 for everything else. Student loans, medical bills, clothing, phone, any form of entertainment, any form of savings, any form of emergency fund. In 2019, that same math left John with closer to $1,900 a month. John's raise gave him $650 more per month. Inflation took $1,300. He is $650 poorer than he was 5 years ago, on a higher salary. That is what happened to the American paycheck. The three silent killers. Now here's what makes this worse, because it's not just inflation in general. There are three specific categories eating paychecks faster than everything else, and most people have no idea how badly these three things are outrunning their income. Silent killer number 1, shelter. Housing costs, rent or mortgage, now consume an average of 33 to 38% of American household income. The traditional rule is 28%. We blew past that years ago and kept going. Since 2020, rents nationally are up 30%. Mortgage payments on the median home are up over 80% when you factor in both price increases and rate increases together. Housing used to be the foundation of your budget. Now it's the ceiling. Silent killer number 2, insurance. This one flies under the radar because it comes out automatically. But between health insurance, car insurance, home or renter's insurance, and life insurance, the average American household now spends over $1,000 a month on insurance premiums alone. Car insurance up 42% since 2020. Homeowners insurance up 21% in just the last 2 years in some states. Health insurance premiums have doubled in the last decade. You are paying more every year for the right to not be completely destroyed by bad luck, and the cost of that right keeps climbing regardless of whether anything bad actually happens. Silent killer number 3, lifestyle creep you didn't choose. Here is the one that stings the most. Some of the inflation hitting your paycheck isn't from prices going up on things you buy. It's from things that used to be free or cheap that are now expensive and unavoidable. Streaming services. When Netflix launched, it was $8 a month. Today, between Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, YouTube Premium, Spotify, and the 3 other subscriptions most people forgot they have, the average household spends $273 a month on subscriptions. Bank fees, delivery fees, convenience fees, service fees. There is now a fee attached to nearly every financial transaction you make. Paying a bill online, transferring money, getting your money out of an ATM, you are being nickeled and dimed at industrial scale. And because each charge is small, your brain barely registers it. But added up, it is a second grocery bill leaving your account every month. Why your brain doesn't see it. Here is why this is so dangerous, and this is the part most financial channels skip completely. When prices rise gradually, not in one shock, but slowly, category by category, month by month, your brain adjusts without triggering an alarm. Humanity calls this hedonic adaptation. You adjust, you normalize, you stop noticing. The $1,480 rent doesn't feel outrageous because you watched it go from $1,050 to $1,100 to $1,350 to $1,480 over 4 years. Each jump felt survivable, the total damage invisible.
This is exactly why millions of Americans feel financially stressed but can't point to a single catastrophic decision they made. There was no catastrophic decision. There were 200 small ones made by every company, landlord, and insurer around you simultaneously over 5 years. You didn't overspend your way here, you got outpaced. And understanding that difference matters enormously because the solution to overspending is discipline, but the solution to being systematically outpaced requires a completely different strategy. What actually works now? So, what do you actually do with this? First, run your own John numbers. Right now, most people have a vague feeling that money is tight, but no clear picture of exactly how tight and exactly why. Open a spreadsheet, write down every fixed monthly expense, every single one.
Most people discover they're spending $400 to $600 more per month than they think, not on luxuries, on the basics that quietly repriced around them. You cannot fix what you haven't measured. Second, attack the big three, not the small ones. The latte isn't your problem. Your housing cost, your car situation, and your insurance premiums are your problem. A 10% reduction in any one of those three categories saves you more money annually than eliminating every coffee you ever buy. Focus your energy where the real money is. Third, stop trading time for money as your only strategy. Here is the hard truth about the American paycheck right now. If your income is entirely dependent on one employer paying you a fixed salary, you are permanently in a defensive position because your expenses reprice every year whether your employer gives you a raise or not. The people quietly winning right now have one thing in common: a second income stream. Doesn't have to be dramatic, doesn't have to be a startup. Even $500 to $800 a month from a side skill, a freelance service, or a small investment position changes the math completely. It gives you the one thing inflation cannot take from you: options. Back to John. John didn't make bad decisions. John showed up. John worked hard. John got his raise, and the system repriced around him faster than his income could follow. That is not a personal failure. That is a structural problem that is happening to tens of millions of people at the same time, quietly, gradually, without a name or a news alert. But here is what I want you to take away from this. You now understand exactly what happened. Most people don't. Most people just feel the stress without seeing the mechanism. And seeing the mechanism is the first step towards actually doing something about it. The paycheck didn't fail you. The math around the paycheck changed. And now that you know how, you can start changing your math back. Drop a like if this helped. It genuinely makes a difference.